Welcome to Paranormal Nightshift, your home for everything that goes bump in the dark, and your fan stories told right here. Today's story comes from a person who wants to remain anonymous and is titled Deep in the Woods. Before we get into tonight's story, I want to let you in on something special. Ever wanted to get a jump on the paranormal action? Crave more chills, more thrills, more unexplained phenomena? Well, now's your chance. Become a member of our Patreon and get exclusive access to our early episodes. That's right, a whole week before anyone else. Not only that, but our Patreon episodes are completely ad-free, so you can dive right into the creepy without any interruptions. But that's not all. Patreon members also get a front row seat to our brand new ebook series, Paranormal Time Traveler. In this thrilling saga, our time-traveling investigator journeys back in time to explore the strange and unexplained stories submitted by you, our amazing listeners. So, if you're ready to take your paranormal obsession to the next level, head on over to Patreon and join the Paranormal Nightshift family. You won't want to miss what we have in store for you. Our Patreon link is in the description, or visit patreon.com/Paranormal Nightshift. Now, let's get into tonight's story. The humid North Carolina air hung heavy that night, clinging to my skin like a second layer of clothes. We'd just moved into this little cabin deep in the McDowell County woods, a place steeped in whispered legends and flickering campfire tales. Months ago, on the night we moved in, a roar, a howl, something primal and terrifying had echoed through the trees, sending shivers down our spines. It was a sound that stayed with you, a dark echo in the back of your mind. Tonight, insomnia had me wide awake at 2:30 a.m., staring at the inky blackness outside my window. An unsettling prickle crawled up my neck, the feeling of being watched. I tossed and turned, the silence outside pressing against the thin walls of the cabin. It wasn't the usual peaceful quiet of the woods, but a heavy, unnatural stillness. Even the crickets seemed to hold their breath. Suddenly, a low whine broke the silence. My dog, a husky timberwolf mix named Bear, a hulking beast of fur and muscle, padded anxiously into my room. He wasn't known for subtlety. His usual way of demanding a bathroom break was a clumsy body slam against the door, but tonight his whine was different, laced with something primal, a fear I'd never heard from him. He paced back and forth between my bed and the sliding glass door that led to the back porch, his anxious whines escalating into a low growl. Sighing, I figured nature called and stumbled out of bed. The kitchen was dark, illuminated only by the sliver of moonlight filtering through the trees. Pulling on a cap and grabbing Bear's leash, I slid open the door. The cool night air hit me like a slap. Usually the symphony of the woods lulled me to sleep. Crickets chirping, owls hooting, the occasional rustle of a nocturnal creature. Tonight there was nothing. An eerie quiet hung in the air. Unease gnawed at my gut. Bear, usually a playful goofball, strained against the leash, his body stiff, nose twitching. He was on high alert, every hair on his massive frame bristling. The farm next door, usually a cacophony of animal sounds, was eerily silent. Not a bleat from a goat, a cluck from a chicken, or the bray of the donkey. Even the horses, usually restless stomping machines, were quiet. Suddenly, Bear's growl ripped through the silence. It wasn't a playful warning. It was a deep, guttural sound that vibrated through the leash and straight into my bones. Fear, cold and primal, coiled in my stomach. The night was already dark, but the corner where Bear strained towards was shrouded in an even deeper shadow. He lunged, pulling me off my feet and sending me sprawling onto the damp grass. Scrambling to my knees, I followed his gaze, my heart hammering against my ribs. What I saw that night will forever be burned into my memory. It was a monstrosity straight out of legend. Towering on its hind legs, its massive form was ripped with muscle, moonlight glinting off fur that shimmered silver grey. Its hands, each one easily bigger than my head, were tipped with cruel claws. But it was the head that truly sent a jolt of terror through me. A grotesquely oversized wolf head with glowing eyes that seemed to pierce the darkness and lock onto mine. It stood at my bedroom window, easily 7 feet off the ground. The moonlight filtering through the glass illuminated its horrifying visage. For a frozen moment, our eyes locked. A silent scream trapped in my throat. Then, with a snarl that ripped through the stillness, Bear lunged. The creature, startled, turned and fled into the woods with a thunderous crash of heavy footsteps. I scrambled to my feet, Bear dragging me after him towards the safety of the house. Dazed and shaking, I slammed the door shut and bolted it with shaking hands. My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic drum solo in the sudden silence. The encounter left me shaken to the core. Days later, the memory of that night still haunted me. Talking to the neighbors, I hesitantly brought it up, expecting ridicule. Instead, they just nodded, a knowing glint in their eyes. "Yep," one old-timer said, scratching his chin. "That sounds about right. Welcome to McDowell County, son." With that being said, thank you so much for your story. Remember, if you want to support the show, head on over to our Patreon page. Your contributions help us keep the lights on, the stories flowing, and the time traveler fueled up for his next adventure. But hey, if you can't support us financially, no worries. Just sharing the show with a friend or rating us on your favorite podcast platform goes a long way. And if you've got a spooky story of your own, we'd love to hear it. Share it with us right here on Paranormal Nightshift. You never know, your story might just become the next chapter in the Paranormal Time Traveler series and told here on the show. Until next time, keep your eyes peeled for the unexplained, your ears open for the unheard, and your minds open to the possibilities.